Hey folks, how's everyone doing? Jay here. I've been searching all over the web looking for how to best handle FLog in Davinci Resolve and not finding a lot of stuff. I did read up something, learned it, so I wanted to jump on here real quick, make a fast video, and show anybody else who wants to color grade FLog or FLog-2 in Davinci. In my case, I'm using Davinci 18.5. So real quick, let me show you here. I've got a couple of clips I've dropped in, just myself talking in front of the camera, and you can see that it's, shot in FLog. You've got that wonderful bleached out look. So let's jump into the color section. And the way I like to do my color correction is I like to add in a couple of extra serial nodes over here. So we're just going to hit Option S real quick, and we're going to make a total of 4 nodes. Now, the way I like to do it is the first node over here, let's go ahead and label it, will be the exposure. The second node, is my learn to type, is my contrast node. The third node is my balance, mainly for the warmths and whatnot. And my color space transform node, I like to use the last node here. Okay, so how does this work? In this case, I shot all of this stuff. Good Lord, what a horrible picture of me on there. That's not much better. I shot this on my Fuji X-T3, so I'm most likely shooting in FLog, although this will work with FLog-2. So the first thing we want to do after we've created our 4 nodes, you're going to go to your library and, in this case, start typing in color, and you'll find your color space transform. We're going to take that and drop that on the last one. The reason I like doing it on the last one primarily is that way I can do everything going into it, and I can see what effects are happening to it. Now, here's the fun part. So the input color space, what we're looking for, and what they used to say to use, was Rec 709. Don't use that. Drop down to Rec 2020. The input gamma, I'm just going to hit F. We're going to go Fuji FLog. Now you see how it's darkened up. Our output space is Rec 709, and then we want the gamma of 2.4. Now we've got a nice color. Everything is balanced. Well, balanced for as best it was. This was shot at, I think, an ISO 1200 at f2.8. Didn't have a lot of light in the room, as you can tell by the blowout in the window over there. But this gives me the nicest look to start with. And if you can see, like if we started with 709, you see it's still pretty washed out. Oops. Let's get back over here to 2020. And if you went and did Rec 2020, it washes out as well. So let's get back. So starting with Rec 2020, Fujifilm FLog, then your output space will be Rec 709 and the gamma 2.4. Now, what this does is this gives me a nice starting spot. So now, if I want, I can go ahead and do my exposure. And in case you're not familiar with it, you're somewhat new, you see lift, gamma, gain, and offset. For all intents and purposes, these are your shadows, gamma are your midtones, gain is your highlights, offset is basically your exposure. And you can use these big wheels down here. So as you can see, I've got my scopes up over here on the right. If I go and turn my wheel hard to the right, you see how it's starting to overexpose. It's just simply raising up the scopes. You bring it all the way back down to the left, and now you're underexposing and it's getting darker. So in my exposure channel, I just like to adjust it to, it's a little bit brighter than it was. Oops. Actually, let's go ahead and Command 0 this thing out because I didn't kick over to here. There we go. Okay. So in our exposure node, we're going to bring the exposure up just a little bit. In my contrast, now I can do one of two ways. I can go ahead and just adjust the contrast here, but what I actually prefer doing is I like, and this is why I was showing you, shadows, midtones, highlights. I like coming down to the wheels over here and adjusting my contrast using the wheels. Then for the balance, that's usually between the temp and the color boost, maybe the saturation as well. I might take a little bit of that hotness off, the warmth off of this. Another thing you can do in the balance is you've got your little dropper right here. In my case, I happen to know that this light up here is a white light, and boom, I'm balanced. Now I can go ahead and take the temp up just a little bit, and then I've got a naturally set up picture. Now, let's assume you're doing a number of shots that you're going to need to set this up in. So it's one thing you could go in to color, and then you go down to the memories, and then you save the memory in A, then you load memory A. That's fine, except that it only works on the project you're working on, okay? If you want something that's a little, it's always there that you can grab regardless of what project you're working on, quick way to do this. You see over here, usually you have your LUTs open over here, or your media pool maybe. Go over here and click on gallery, right? And you see over here where it says stills, make sure that's selected. Bring your mouse over here. You see how you got the eyedropper, and what you want to do is right click, or I think it's control click, and then grab the still. Okay, now we've got the still put over here. Again, that's only good for the project level. So the next thing we want to do is take it and drop it into a power grade. Okay, now what has that done? That's put it into a power grade over here. Now that will open up regardless of the project that you open this up in. And you can go in, right click, and where is the, change the label over here. And you see I put Fuji FLog. I can say Fuji FLog, and I'm just going to say -2 over here for the second one, not FLog-2 necessarily, but this, again, like I said, this will work for FLog-2. Now, what does this do? Well, let's go to the second clip. All right, you see how nothing's been happening over here. We still got the regular node we started with. Well, take this, drop it on your node. Pull stuff over here a little bit because we're a little. Come here. There you are. Now we started with the original one, but boom, there we are. We have exactly our same. Good Lord, I find just the worst spots for me to be sitting here. The second clip now is color corrected, just like the first clip is. And now we've got a balance in here. And if we're going to be using this regularly, say you're recording in a spot in your office or something for a regular vlog or YouTube video, you can set this thing on up, drop it on in, bang, your color corrections is set, and then you can go off from there and even adjust. Another thing you can also do, let's do this. Let's just go in. I'm going to delete all those settings. Okay, so all that's left is the CST setting. Okay, now this is for, let's say you've done a lot of shots. You got shots outside, inside, different lighting conditions. Okay, but you just want to put your film in and get it ready to go. Let me go to the second one real quick over here, and I'm going to take these guys out. And what I'm going to do is just reset the node so we're right back to where we began. Okay, oops, hello. All right, so let's go back to the first one again. We've got our color space already done. Hold it in so you can see it. We have our color space already done. Once again, we're going to go over to stills. We're going to right click, grab the still. We're going to drop that into the power grade, go back into power grades, and here we are with the new one. We're going to right click. We're going to change the label, and I'm just going to call it set CST. That's all it is. It's not putting anything else in there. So for example, now we go over to here, we take the set CST, boom, drop it in there, and we're done. We're ready to go, and we're ready to go ahead. Remember how I said Option S, put the frames in, Shift S puts the frames in front. And so if you want, you can go ahead and do your exposure, your balance, and your contrast. Okay, so I hope that helped you guys out. And I'll be talking to you later. All right, peace out. Bye.